Hi, this is JoeyB. Hey, we got the latest and the greatest, and this is what I'm going to be doing. In addition to interviews with people and hearing different things that we've got going on in real estate, something that is extremely impactful and extremely important is reading. Leaders read, and you must keep reading. You must keep, improving yourself, finding out how other people were successful, and get your mindset wrapped around other people that are very, very successful, okay? This is new. It's going to be on the same channel, but it's new, and it's going to be, this is the first one. The first one is Self-Made in America by John Mccormack. I'm going to be highlighting a little bit about the book. I'm not going to be summarizing the book, but I'm going to highlight it. Reading is extremely important. Education is very, very important. Gurus, mentors are very, very important, but it's up to you. So stay tuned and learn about some of the best books that I've ever read in my life. Thank you. Hey everybody, hi. Welcome to, this is JoeyB. Welcome to the world of real estate over here. Real Estate 101 with JoeyB. Hey, I've been introducing you to people that I've met over the last 4 decades, okay? But I've done also a bunch of things all my life, and that's read books. If you want to get involved in real estate, guess what? This is one of the best books you'll ever read. You know what? It's not even real estate. If you want to get involved in business, if you want to run your own company, if you want to have your own sales force, whatever you want to do, if you're in business and you want to make money, this is a book, Self-Made in America by John Mccormack. Why does he call it Self-Made in America? It's very interesting. First of all, John Mccormack was a New York policeman, New York City policeman. Had rough gangs and stuff like that. And him and his brother came up with a big idea about selling Christmas trees, and they got some lights and this and that. Hey, they made $3,000. They made $3,000. His share was $3,000. He invested it in real estate. He invested that in the stock market. Did very well. Got hired by a big firm. Made himself a millionaire. By the time he was 24, he was a millionaire. By the time he was 25, he was broke. He was broke and thinking of jumping off the bridge off New York City somewhere. So, he's depressed. He went from a big shot millionaire with limousines and all that to broke. $250,000 in debt. The stock brokerage firm that he worked for went bust, all that stuff, all right? He's walking down the beach over there in New York, going to jump off the bridge. Depressed. It was over. It was over. Guess what? He runs into his guru, the guru of his life, his mentor, a guy named Abe. Abe was an old guy. He was probably in his 70s. He goes up to John and he says, hey, why do you look so bad, all that? He goes, I made a lot of money. I was a millionaire. I went broke. I'm going to kill myself. The guy goes, why? He goes, why? He says, yeah. How old are you? He said, I'm 25. Abe goes, 25? Oh my God, are you lucky? And guess what? Abe has a Yiddish accent. He's got like a German Yiddish accent, something like that. He goes, are you lucky? You went broke? You went bankrupt at 25? I had to wait till I was 40. Guess what? Abe went broke twice, okay? The third time, which is the stretch that he's in right now, he was worth $75 million in those days, which would be the equivalent of $500 million in today's dollars. Actually, it's probably a little bit more from whenever this book was written, when the book was actually written. What did he learn? What did he learn from Abe? He learned one thing: you need a mentor. You need a mentor. And he says, the problem with you is that you're so involved in your problems that you can't even think straight. He says, if you're going to become a millionaire, you got to stay in the present and you got to go into the future. very hard to do. I don't know how many of you have been up and down and what you've been through. It's hard to forget the past, but you got to forgive, you got to forget, and it sounds like it's a bunch of baloney, but man, you cannot proceed forward. This is what, basically what Abe told him. He said, look, he says, I got a couple kids, a couple boys, they're in their 50s, they're Ivy League. He says they're gonna ruin his $75 million company. It's now $500 million company. He says you don't learn in school the things that you need to make it. Okay, and he also gave me, here's a quote. I know you don't. What he says, what I know is you don't learn nothing unless you pay for it, and you pay for it in a lot of ways. Okay. And he brought up, Abe brought to a couple, examples, analogies over there. He said, oh, I'm 70 years old and I can beat you in a foot race. And he said, okay, come here tomorrow, I'll bet you $50. He says, okay, now here's the rules of the game. He had a potato sack and he made John McCormack run backwards and he beat him. He said, okay, give me the $50. John McCormack's mad. He said, what is this? What is this? You're supposed to be an old millionaire and you hustle me out of $50? He said, I didn't hustle you out of $50. Come back tomorrow and tell me what it is. You know what it was? If you set the rules of the game, you can win. You got to set the rules of the game. As you go through the book, you'll see examples of how it works, okay? And he says, hey, losing is, sometimes the only way you learn is lose. But the guy really liked Vince Lombardi. And he said, when Vince Lombardi, first of all, he says, you got to pay your dues. And Vince Lombardi worked 25 years before he became a head coach. 25 years before he became a head coach. And he said, the secret is when you lose. When Vince Lombardi's team lost, he would work them so hard, he would work them to kill, he'd be killing them the next week. They didn't have time to feel sorry for themselves. They didn't have time to think about it. They couldn't cry because they lost. He would work them so hard. The only thing they would think about is winning. And then they'd be so prepared for the next game, they'd win it. But here's the key thing. I'm not going to tell you the whole book. You got to get the book, though. Get the book and read it. You want to be in business? Get this book. What he says is you got to find a mentor. Okay, what I'm saying is you got to find a mentor. And if you don't, maybe use this book. You can maybe use this book as a mentor. But if you're, everybody's young, they think they're Superman, all boats rise, not a rising tide. You got to survive the recessions. You got to survive the pandemics. You got to survive with money or without money, okay? But here's how the theme of the book worked. He says you got to find, this is Abe. He said, look, you got to find 3 mentors, okay? And these 3 mentors, they had to come to America from a foreign country. They didn't know the language. They didn't know the currency. They didn't know the customs. So, one of these guys didn't even know what the hell city was in for like 2 weeks. They got to come here, no money, no education, just all they had was the will to succeed, and we'll approach that. 3 different guys, 3 guys. First one was a washing machine guy, okay? This guy's name was Ben, okay? And he came from Germany. And when he landed in New York, his boat was he jumped ship and he swam in, and he landed in New York with like $2 in his pocket, no money. And guess what? It was St. Patty's Day in New York. And this is what he thought America was. He thought America was St. Patty's Day. He says, I never had a drink in my life, and I got drunk that night. I had women coming up to me, kissing me. America is the greatest place in the world. And this guy, he got in the Navy, and then he had a little electrical training. He fixed the washing machines and blah, blah, blah. He built an empire, became a multi-millionaire. A multi-millionaire, basically selling washing machines, representing people, and then he built it into a conglomerate. The second guy, it's all about meatballs. It's an Italian guy named Nick. He came to America too. He got to Philadelphia. He didn't know what city he was in, and he met some guy, I think a Spanish guy, and he took him under his wing. He says, "Look, you're Italian. You got to go to Brooklyn. That's where people from Brooklyn. Yeah, that's where Italians go. They all go to Brooklyn." He goes to Brooklyn. It's the Italian story. He meets people from, Paisan people, family, friends, all that stuff. He gets a job as a dishwasher in a restaurant, okay? But he wants to get and meet the boss. He doesn't know how to meet the boss. He looks at the washroom, he goes to the John, and it's not really the cleanest, okay? You know what he does? Do you know what Nick does? He gets a toothbrush and he scrubs the toilet better than anything else, than anybody else ever have. He do it with a toothbrush, just between everything, blah, blah, blah. Within a week, the owner goes in there and asks the store manager, he said, "Hey, what's going on with this, with the Johns?" He meets Nick. He says, "Holy cow." And he says, "No, mister, I'm cleaning it for you. It's going to be the best. I do everything the best." The salad guy quits, okay? So guess what the owner does? He gives Nick the shot. He says, "Okay, you can make salads," okay? You know what Nick learns? Nick learns that there's 25% spoilage. 25% of the salad they have to throw out because they don't use it. It gets welted and all this. So he comes home, he tells his little Italian lady next door about it. She says, "Look, all you got to do is take baking soda, mix it up with water, spray it. It'll be good tomorrow. It'll be good tomorrow." He does this, and then 2 weeks later, the bookkeeper comes, tells the owner, "Man, wait a minute. The cost is going down like crazy on the lettuce." Why? Because he figured out. It goes on and on and on, and then he buys his own restaurant, and he goes through the trials and tribulations, and he talks about his Italian financing, okay? He had a junky location between a gas station and I don't know what the other thing was, a gas station and a factory, and it was a junky place. He only made $175,000 his first year. He couldn't make money, didn't even, broke even. He asked his suppliers, he said, "Man, this place looks terrible. This place looks terrible, okay? You got to make it look good. You got to get another location." You know what he does? He goes to an art school. He gets some young guy to draw murals and makes it look real fancy. But then he's got to renovate it. How does he renovate it? Well, he charges $25 a plate, okay? But when he's done renovating, he's going to charge $40 or $50 a plate. He makes it look good. He has all the drawings, and he's got to renovate it. So you know what Nick does? He goes to his suppliers and he says, "Okay, here's the deal. You guys know I'm an honest man. I work hard. Okay, I need you to lend me the money. You lend me the money, and then I'll pay you back at 20% interest over 5 years." So the guys come up with the money, and he says, "But wait a minute. I'm not going to pay you for the first year because I'll be under construction, but we'll add it on to the last 4. It works. He pays them off. Nick becomes a multimillionaire selling what he says he sells meatballs. Okay, dig this one. Okay, John Mccormack has a beauty shop chain. He starts a beauty shop chain with his wife. It's called Visual Changes. That's the backbone of the book and how he builds it. But why he's starting one at a mall in Texas, there's a little Vietnamese guy who comes by and sells them donuts, gives them donuts, sells them donuts. He's got a bakery, okay? And it was really, they were good donuts and all that stuff. But here's the story. The guy's name is Lee Van Vu. Lee's parents' family were big developers, very, 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 very rich Vietnamese people, okay? Long story short, he gets captured by the Viet Cong. He's in prison with them for 3 years. He gets out, whatever, empire's gone, just, the whole thing. And then he somehow makes it to the Philippines, broke in a refugee camp with his wife. And he talks to the president of the Philippines, says, "Give me a boat, and I'll have a great fishing boat." He did. He became a very, 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 rich man with the fishing boats. Okay, but what does he want to do? He wants to come to America. Okay, sells whatever he's got. At the boat, successful, whatever, and he buys a ticket to the United States. Him and his wife, and they come to the United States. So they wind up at this mall in Texas that one of his cousins owns, and you hear their story. For 2 or 3 years, they sleep on sacks in the back of the bakery. They save enough money, like $30,000, to buy the bakery, okay? And the cousin carries seller financing. The cousin holds the $90,000 in financing. Guess what? They don't pay for an apartment. They don't pay for a car. They don't pay for a gas. They live there, and they take not showers, but they take sponge baths in the public bathrooms over there. Okay, they wind up buying a bakery. They own the bakery free and clear. Guess what? Read the rest of the story. Lee Van Vu is a multi-millionaire. Okay, the 3 immigrants. They came to America, couldn't speak English, didn't have any money. All they had is the will to succeed. America is the greatest place in the world. You know what's a word that ties that in? John Mccormack brings it up. It's conation. Conation. C-O-N-A-T-I-O-N. It's the will to succeed. It's some mental attitude in your head that no matter what happens, you're going to make it work. No matter what anybody does to you, you're going to make it work. And the only way they're going to stop you is kill you. Okay? You think you're an entrepreneur? You think you got what it takes? And you're born in America? And you're born in America. I was born in America. My grandmother said something to me in Polish. I said, "What is it?" My father said, "It says, you were, if you're born in America, now you got to work. Quit complaining." And I told her, I said, "Hey, Busha, I was born in America." She said, "Okay, you're an Indian. Anybody born in America is an Indian." Listen, take this. I don't even know what this costs. It's probably, I don't know. I get the hard books because I scribble them up. But you want to join JoeyB team, you got to look at something like this. Read this book. I just highlighted it for you. This has so much to say. That, listen, they get this guy here, this New York cop. They have him teach at the Harvard Business School. Then he has Lee Van Loo teach with him. Hey, these guys don't have high school degrees, the 3 immigrants. They never went to college. They came over here, I guess, teenagers or young ages like that. You know what you need? You need conation, okay? You need the will to succeed. You got to be able to take a beating. Okay, listen, thank you much. This is Joey Backwoods. And stay tuned, because I'm going to be getting into mentors. The mentors that started JoeyB on the road. Okay? Thank you very much.